Welcome to this special second edition of The Right Stuff, the Wednesday night edition, coming up next right here on WPJC Media.
You are listening to the best, the only place to be on Tuesday night. That's right, you're listening to The Right Stuff, and you're at the right place at the right time. From England to Canada, from Detroit to the Poconos, we are showcasing Christian authors worldwide, giving you tips, tools, techniques, and resources for you, the writer, to hone and perfect your craft. Tune in every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, right here on WPJC 104.5. And your host, Parker J. Cole.
Hi, and welcome to this special edition of The Right Stuff. I am so excited you are here with me today. We're going to have a fantastic time. And let me tell you, there's not anything better than one night of right when there's two nights of right. We're going to have a great time today. I'll be talking to my guest co-host and contributor today, LaTracey Hughes. She is the author of Emancipate Me. And what do we mean by emancipate me? What exactly does that mean? I know we all know about the Emancipation Proclamation that Abraham Lincoln signed into existence. But what does emancipate me? What does that mean? We're going to find that out on this edition of The Right Stuff. And as always, you can call in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air. Or you can always hit me on Twitter at ParkerJCo, #RightStuff with your questions and comments. We're going to go ahead and take a quick short break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Don't go anywhere. More with Parker and her guests on the Right Stuff radio show. We'll be right back.
Question: if you write a book, everybody will rush out to buy it. Obvious answer, no. If you were a celebrity or if you had a huge marketing budget, then maybe you can get a lot of exposure for your book. Another solution would be to check out joeytweets.com. joeytweets.com is a promotion and marketing service with access to over 1/3 of a million followers on Twitter. joeytweets.com has 3 packages available to fit any budget. That's joeytweets.com. Joey.
Hi. Is your book club in need of some fresh and exciting questions to ask club members and authors at your next book club meeting? LaTracey, the book conversation game, is 70 thought-provoking questions to really get into an in-depth discussion about the books you and your club members are reading. These questions really get into the characters, the storyline, and into the author's head. These questions may just give you and your book club members a whole new way to get into a new conversation, a LaTracey. LaTracey is also a great set of tools for bloggers, interviewers, and authors to use as discussion questions. Are you ready to get lit? Please visit our website at litversations.com, litversation.com. And please like our Facebook page at Simply Said Reading Accessories. Thank you.
Engaging the culture's imagination through speculative fiction, the Untold Podcast produces audio fiction from a Christian worldview. Find us over at untoldpodcast.com, where we partner with authors to tell science fiction, fantasy, supernatural, and horror stories. Find links at untoldpodcast.com to subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, and a variety of other platforms. Each month we produce high-quality audio fiction that's free to download and free to listen. Our submissions are open, and we're always looking to add another great story to over 24 hours of narrative entertainment. Find all of our audio fiction over at www.untoldpodcast.com.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. You are listening to The Right Stuff here on WPJC 104.5. Again, so glad you are with me. Like I said, this is a special edition of The Right Stuff. We are talking to LaTracey Hughes. She is the author of the book, Emancipate Me. We know how powerful the written word is. I'm a writer. Most of you who have been on my show are writers. Most of you who are readers know how powerful the written word is. So what about we take that written word and we speak it? We often talk about the power of words, but do we really understand the power of the spoken word? Now, let me make it clear. I'm not talking spells and all that mystical stuff. I'm talking about affirmations or negativity or positivity that we bring in and out of our lives. To author LaTracey Hughes about Emancipate Me and how the spoken word can emancipate you. If you want to weigh in on our topic, you certainly can by calling in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air. As I said before, hit me on Twitter at ParkerJCo, #RightStuff. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest co-host and contributor today, LaTracey Hughes. LaTracey, how are you doing today?
I am phenomenal. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
I'm glad you were able to be with me. I was looking forward to our conversation for some time because when I first heard about your book, Emancipate Me, we talked about it. I was just really invigorated by the idea of those words, emancipate me. And the first thing, like I said before the broadcast started, is that Abraham Lincoln signed in the Emancipation Proclamation. And we know that freed, or on paper anyway, freed slaves from the institution of slavery. We know that happened, and how many of the slaves revered Abraham Lincoln for what he did. And even through history, he's seen in a rather positive light. Yes, he has some hiccups, but he's seen a rather positive light of emancipation. But here, we're going to take that emancipation that we know from history, and we're going to take it inward. So I really want to kind of get into this topic here. But before I do that, go ahead and tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a multi-best-selling author and publisher. I'm a blazing empowerment speaker. I am an ordained minister, and I love life. As a mother and an overcomer, I not only speak what I believe, but I also live it. And so that's who I am. I am a pioneer in my own right, and I just love allowing other people to identify their voice and make money from it. So that is my purpose, and I enjoy it daily. I currently live on Mississippi Gulf Coast. Many people have seen me all over the United States as an international speaker, hosting conferences under my brand, Igniting the Fire. And so I just go out blazing in the marketplace. So that is who I am.
I like your word choice there, especially how you said fire, blazing, ignition. And I am assuming that those are words that are so important when we speak them because they're not just cute ways to describe something. They're going to ignite something with you. They're going to blaze something with you. So kind of using that as a backdrop of Emancipate Me, when you use the word fire, ignite, blaze, what are that spoken word that you speak into into your life? How does that invigorate the person who is speaking it?
Well, the person that is speaking words of ignition must understand that everything is purified in fire. And so you're going to go through things. You're going to experience things. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to be doable. And so in the process, when you are ignited, you are not only burning off some of those things that are not supposed to be there, but the beauty of that thing is going to be there when it's all over and done with. And so when that person is speaking that over their lives, they're also able to manifest that into their reality.
That's a wonderful, wonderful illustration of just how just one word can bring so much meaning to someone's life, especially when they speak that affirmation into their lives. I really like that example. And now when you talk about Emancipate Me, it's an anthology. And I think it's a unique take on the anthology. Go ahead and tell us about Emancipate Me and what the genesis was behind this idea.
Well, I began writing my poems when I was 13 years old. And they were shaped from life experiences. I'm a product, and when I say product, please listen to the ending, because what you start out as is not how you finish. And so I was a product of rape and molestation. And in that situation, in that season of my life, I wrote to express and to pour out the hurt and the pain and the suffering and the renewal that I experienced. And a lot of people did not understand that that's what caused me to write, but it was not always from an anger part of my life. It also stemmed what I thought was enjoyable, because that's what was going on in my life. Because when you don't know better, you can't do better, right? And so since I was 13, I started writing, and everyone that I met kept saying, oh, wow, your writing is just so amazing. It's great, and we love it, but you cannot share it because people are going to know what's going on in your life, or you can't share it because you're a woman of God, and you can't share it because people are going to look at you differently. Well, I kept that in. I kept that in because I did not want to hear what other people had to say. I did not want to experience the backlash because I had already been experiencing it all of those years of my life. And so between the ages of 13 and 19, I was raped and molested. But in that process of being in that situation, I learned how to express and to heal from it. And so I learned how to write my way to healing. And a lot of people have not learned exactly how to do that. But I did. But in the process of me being raped and molested, I began looking for love in all the wrong places. So I got married multiple times because I was looking for the love because that's all I knew. And so while I was doing that, I shaped my life and shaped who I was based on what others told me was right. And so years down the line, it took me actually 25 years down the line, and it got me to the place of I don't have to hide what I write, because what I have written can help someone else. What I've gone through can help someone else. And I no longer am in shame about what I've endured, but I'm empowered because I realize I no longer have to be there. And because I have a legacy of daughters, I can teach them you don't have to live with the shame of your parents. And so through that situation, I made the declaration that I was no longer going to live in shame on my 38th birthday. And so I put it out there. I did a couple of Facebook Lives. I've been publishing for years, but I never thought that I would get my story out. And when I decided to get my story out, that was the genesis of Emancipate Me. Because I had to be free before I can go back and free anyone else. I had to be free not only through my words, but also through my actions. I had to be free from a place where I knew that it was in my belly, that I no longer had to birth out stillborn children because of my life experiences. So that's where the genesis of Emancipate Me came from. And I put the word out, and other people had to be freed as well. So that's where the anthology came from, because it's only a few people in the book. It's only a few. And it's only a few because that's exactly how the journey goes. When you are emancipated, not everyone is going with you, and it's not going to be a whole lot of people in your circle. So when there are people that come with you, it may only be a handful. And so that is the entire outlook of the book, Emancipate Me, because I had to realize not everyone was going to agree. I'm a preacher. I preach in the pulpit and in the marketplace. And so some of those graphic things that were in the book, it made me over $10,000 when I first put it out in one weekend with my launch. But I learned it not only freed me, but it freed others, because I no longer had to live in bondage from what I had experienced. And so for a preacher to talk about sex, that's a little off. And for a preacher to talk about enjoying sex, that's not really welcomed. And for a preacher to speak from the real, raw, and unedited versions of life, that's really not welcomed in a lot of places, especially in the churches. And so for me to let it go, I consulted my pastor, and he said, well, that basically is a 2017 version of the Song of Solomon. And I said, yeah, it is. And he said, well, just let me read a copy. I said, all right. Because, I realized, yes, I mean, but that's a part of it as well. Because when you're in church, that can sometimes hinder you from elevating in where God wants you to be, because you have an image of what church is supposed to be. So I am not one of those cookie-cutter preachers. I'm not a cookie-cutter minister or anything like that. I am going to tell the truth. I'm going to be plain and real, raw, and unedited. I pray daily for my filter, but I still know that the book Emancipate Me not only helped me, but it also helped others. And it was so funny that even in the process of my last divorce, my ex-husband said, man, I never knew I did those things to you, but you still never uncovered me in the book. And I said, no, I didn't. So you can write from a place of healing and never even mention the person's name and still receive your healing.
Let me tell you, LaTracey, I am just, my body is just tingling with all your words, and in so few words, you've given us a whole lifetime of experience with so few words. And let me tell you right now, I am all for being real, about talking about the difficult things, about talking about the hard things. It is so difficult when the church is supposed to be a place where you can really unleash and you can't. And so I'm glad that you stand up for, raw faith. Like one of my guests on the show before, her book is called Raw Faith, Hanging On by the Scratch Marks My Fingernails Left Behind. Raw faith. And when I listen to you say that, I totally feel that. And I'm so glad that God called you to do that. And I like how you said, as you were telling us your story behind Emancipate Me, how this was written from a place of pain, but it doesn't end up in a place of pain. This was written from a product of rape and molestation, but it didn't end up as a rape and molestation, which goes back to the point that you made about using the word like fire, ignition, blaze, because you know what? You're purified through it all. And I love the fact that you are a minister of God. I love that. We need more female ministers. I totally believe we need more female ministers. There was a time when I didn't believe that because, I grew up Baptist, and we Baptists are very good at our traditions. And not all Baptists are like that. So my listeners out there who Baptists, and y'all like, we not do that. I know how it goes. But I grew up. I mean, the women had to, I can go into all of that. But I'm so glad to hear that the Lord used that pain and shared it with so many people. That means, that lets you know something, though, LaTracey. Please explain on this for me. That lets you know that there are more people hurting than we give credit for. I'm going to say that again.
Most
that
definitely.
Lets you know there are more people hurting than we give credit for. It's like we're aware of these things happening, but we don't want to talk about it, because we talk about it, we may have to confront it. And then instead of just confronting it, we may have to do something about it. Go ahead and expand on that for me, LaTracey.
I would say church hurt, but I will say life hurt.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to receive phone calls, messages this evening, which is okay. I have no problem giving you the number. You can call. I'm not a punk. But when I say church hurt or even life hurt, people experience things in life such as divorce, rough relationships, lack of communication, unruly and disobedient children, ailing parents. Life hurts. More bills than money. These things aren't being discussed in the pulpit. And because they aren't being discussed in the pulpit, it brings forth so much heaviness. And if you've ever seen, you can put a brick on top of a pillow, and the pillow is soft and the brick is hard, but regardless to what happens, the weight of that brick is still going to overpower anything that pillow could ever, you can't be comfortable, right? And so in life, that's how it is. We have bricks that are on our shoulders and on our heads from experiences that we cannot discuss, but we are expected to be comfortable when we lay our heads at night. We can. We can't. I have been in church all of my life. Even when I was in the clubs and I was kicking it and I was doing all that I wasn't supposed to do, I was still in the church. I still knew I was Baptist. I still knew. I didn't know anything about holiness then. I was still in church. I leave the club, go to the church in my same clothes that I had on the night before. See, I'm real about mine. But
I like how you said that.
So I'm serious. So I understand the process, but I also understand that if you have a church that says come as you are, but you coming in your clothes from the club, you can't get free that way because people are going to be side-eyeing you. They may be mad that your joint came out in your pocket when you were trying to give some offering. Don't look at me funny. People don't understand that you may have used that little binocle or some mints, but it still didn't cover up the alcohol that was on your breath, but you still came to praise them. People still knock you for what you've gone through, but they don't see that they were in that same situation or even worse when they got there. And the hurt is still evident, and the hurt is still going to be there. It doesn't matter how much hooping and hollering and worshiping and falling out at the altar, flopping around like a fish. If you don't have a personal relationship with God to get free, you are going to stay in bondage. And so when I sat back and I went through the process of writing this book, I said, it's going to be some people mad at me. It's going to be some people that are going to be hating on me. I told the author, I said, look, I want it real raw and uncut. I want it to be authentic, and I want you to know what is going to come from this may not be pretty. But unless you are ready to hold on to it, then do not submit your articles and your poems. They were like, what? I said, don't submit it. Because this right here is going to bring forth some things. I talked about sex. I'm a preacher. They ask at the end of the sermon, do you have any books or anything that people can purchase? Yes. They don't expect that those are the books that I'm going to sell, but books are not going to say thou and thou thinkest. I'm not. But I needed people to understand me. I needed people to understand that I've been hurt. Some things I'm still healing from. It's a little tingle. But even in that, God is still good. And that if I can overcome, you can overcome too.
Amen. Well, powerful words of encouragement and powerful words of healing there that you're saying. I like how you said, I talk about sex, and that's one thing the church act like it's the best thing God ever made. And, well, not the best thing, I shouldn't say that, but it was its rightful form is just that connection between man and woman, just that connection there, and dealing with that. And people don't want to talk about it. And when they do talk about it, say, just don't do it, as if that's going to help. We have all these issues going on right now because I think in the past the church just said, just don't do it. And, and you're not really giving good reasons why. And I'm not saying that that's not good enough. And please help me if I'm wrong here, LaTracey. I'm not saying that's not good enough, but there's got to be more to the conversation than just don't do it. You got to give, especially young people. I'm sorry?
That is so true because you can't tell a person not to do something, but their body's natural reaction is to do it. But then you just tell them don't do it, or you're not telling them how to not do it, or how to sustain, or you're telling them to sustain it. You're not sustaining yourself. I mean,
right. Do as I say, don't do as I do, right? That's what some of us want to do.
So, I mean, I do that, and I've experienced that, and I am just at a place of being honest with me. I have children, and my children have written, and, I mean, they've typed off some of my work that I have written in my journal. And my daughter, who was 14, she was like, oh, my goodness, did you just say whore? And I said, yes, ma'am. Yep. Did you say whore for real? Did you just cuss? Yes. Mama. It's okay, baby. Keep typing.
Right. Love it. Keep it real. Oh, I love this. That's why this anthology is so important for our listeners out there. Emancipate Me. It's not just talking about um, saying words of affirmation, even though that is there, but it's also talk about how you can write your way to healing. And these authors use short stories and poetry to express that. So what I want you to do, for those of you listening to the sound of my voice, I want you to love on my sister today and the contributing authors to this anthology, Emancipate Me. I want you to love on them today. Go ahead, buy a copy of this book. Make sure you leave a review, and let me tell you something. Once you read this book,
I love that. Love.
Oh, love
They
on
can
it.
find it at www.purposefulpublishing.org.
Again, she said www.purposefulpublishing.org. And you definitely want to get a copy of this, because this is going to not just emancipate other people, it's going to emancipate yourself. And I think especially women, and, unfortunately, there are so many women who have the same story. You know what I mean, LaTracey? I mean, you think, oh, I'm the only one who's dealt with this, and you look up and find your neighbor next door done dealt with it. Your friend that you go to church with done dealt with it. Your friend you go to school with done dealt with it. The friend you go have class with, whatever, someone's dealt with it. And so we need these type of stories, first of all, to emancipate ourselves, and then, like you said, help others. And I think that is the core of what you're trying to do. Even though you have expressed your pain, the painful things you went through, you still come from it healing. Like you said in the beginning of the broadcast, you said, just because I'm a product of this, that's not how I'm going to end up. And if that doesn't emancipate someone, I don't know what else will, because the Lord Jesus will take all your pain and turn it into sunshine. It's like that song by Israel New Breed, Turn Around. And in the song, he says, open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing. And then he says, you have turned my mourning to dancing. You have turned my sorrow to joy. And I think Emancipate Me would do that for our listeners today. LaTracey, if people want to find you online, where's the best place they could find you?
Social media. On Facebook, I am LaTracey Hughes. I have not only my business page, but I also have my personal page. It's craziness on both pages, so don't worry about it. I have the Twitter. I am Igniting Fire. On Instagram, I am Igniting the Fire. I apologize for that.
No problem.
And I'm sorry, on Instagram, I'm Igniting the Fire Movement. They wanted me to add that movement to it.
Okay.
But yes, I'm LaTracey Hughes on social media, and you can Google me and find out my information. I am open to dialogue. I'm open to ministering. I am open to even coaching, consulting, and publishing. I love what I do. It is a part of my purpose, and I believe that no matter what a person goes through, they don't have to go through it alone, whether they're growing or they're healing. So that's just me in a nutshell. So I welcome new friends, new collaborations, and I look forward to seeing what is available. Oh, can I share one more thing?
You certainly can.
Okay. Well, we were finished speaking about the book Emancipate Me, and I have just launched on my website an opportunity for those who are listening and those who are going to tell their friends and their family and their cousins all about the Emancipate Me book. There's an opportunity for you to be in the second volume. That information is on the website, and those people that choose to be a part of that book will have an opportunity to be on tour and to participate in our fall conference that we're going to have in October. So those individuals who desire to be published authors, who desire to get their words out and to ignite the fire in their lives, go ahead and contact me. The opportunity is on the website, purposefulpublishing.org, or you can find me on social media. Inbox me. Give me a call. Regardless, I am here to answer any questions or concerns.
LaTracey, Thank you so much for being with me on this edition of The Right Stuff. I have been so invigorated. I have been set on fire. I have been ignited. I am blazing with just what you are doing with your ministry, your publishing, your writing, and your coaching, and your personal services that you provide. I'm invigorated by that, and I cannot wait to have you back real soon when you have a chance. So thank you for being with me on the show today.
I appreciate you, and thank you, and I look forward to the next time.
And we were having just a fantastic time with author and international best-selling author LaTracey Hughes. She is the author and contributing force behind Emancipate Me, which is an anthology of women who have come together to share their stories, poetry and short stories, unedited, raw, unscripted, all straight from the heart. And let me tell you, it is going to not just invigorate you, but it's going to emancipate you. One thing that I love that LaTracey said is that she wrote herself into healing. And that is sometimes very difficult because the pain of your past can be so heavy. And she used the example of a brick on top of a pillow. And that brick, no matter how you move, is always going to be felt because that pillow cannot handle the weight of the brick. But you know what? With Christ in your life, he can emancipate you and get rid of that brick off of your life. You want to get a copy of Emancipate Me today. Love on my sisters in Christ today. Love on them. And then here's the nice part. If you want to share your story, contact LaTracey Hughes at purposefulpublishing.org. Contact her there. And when you contact her, if you want to be in the second volume of Emancipate Me, you'll have a chance to go on tour with her. But you got to get all the details from LaTracey. But I'm giving you the opportunity to go to her website, purposefulpublishing.org, to get more information about it. And then you can go on social media on Facebook, LaTracey Copeland Hughes. You can go on Facebook and contact her there. You can call her. She has a number on both her pages. And you're going to love this woman. So go ahead, get a copy of Emancipate Me today, connect with LaTracey, and see what she can do to emancipate you. Thank you for joining me for this special edition of The Right Stuff. You have a wonderful, absolutely glorious, blessed day, and God bless.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of The Right Stuff. Follow Parker online at parkerjcole.com. To hear this show and other shows, visit the show archive at therightstuffradio.wordpress.com. We'll be back same time next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.